Facebook, welcome. Good evening and good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. For those of you who are connected by way of podcast, this is the Leadership TKO Live Night Show, and we want to welcome you here to the show. And so welcome aboard. Now, we're normally here with this show, every single evening, somewhere between 8:30 and 9, perhaps even 9:30. Some evenings, depending on what we have going on with our meetings and our trainings, and we want to really help you all to truly win. That's what we're all about here with the show. We want to help you to win from the inside out, growing 3 areas: your influence, your impact, and your income. And so we welcome you here on tonight. We've been really focusing in on a core area, a core topic here with the show, and we've been focusing in on why own gold. Okay, it's really, there are really many things going on in the global economy that you will want to keep your eyes open on and really become educated on. And so we want to share some information. We don't want to be too complex during the show to the point where you don't understand what we're saying. And so we're going to try to keep it as simple as possible, but we're going to reference some credible sources, people who are out there, people who study the economy. So you want to make sure that you stay plugged in to this particular show, as well as some of my other colleagues who also do live streams online. So again, welcome aboard, everyone. Here's a couple of things that you can do to be engaged here during the show. So number 1, love this stream. If you do want to grow your influence, your impact, or your income, go ahead and love the stream. You can share your thoughts below in the comment section. And you can share this out depending on the platform that you're either watching or you're listening into. You can share this with your colleagues and your friends. And so we welcome you once again. Now, many of you know that over the last couple of days, we've really been focusing in on why you should own gold, okay? Why is it that you should own gold? And I've really been referencing my distant mentor, and that is, of course, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. He's the author of this amazing book here that I recommend that you all get a copy of. So you can grab a copy of this over at Amazon. And of course, I'm not getting any credit, of course, for sharing this with you. I just want to make sure that you remain as educated as possible about the things that are going on in the world. And so I'm going to share with you tonight yet another reason why it is important that you own gold. Yes, I own the gold. Okay, so I'm definitely not going to recommend something that I'm not doing. Okay, that I'm not doing. So I'm here to provide a little bit of education for you all, referencing, of course, this book here, because in the book, let me tell you, it talks about fake money, fake teachers, and fake assets. One thing I've come to understand is that the teachers and professors in colleges and universities, they're only teaching you what they know. So they may not know a whole lot about what's going on with the global economy. They may not know a whole lot about why or how to really build wealth, because they may not be really doing it for themselves. They may just be holding on to a 401k that's attached to the dollar. And we all know what's going on with the dollar. And if you don't know, continue to be plugged into this podcast show, as well as some of my other colleagues, as we will be sharing information. You want to make sure you receive a financial education for yourself. Don't just rely on what an advisor may tell you. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing information with you based on what I've gleaned over the course of the last, couple of days and weeks and months. And then also based on credible sources like Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. So let's talk about another reason why you should own gold, which is a precious metal. Okay, so another reason why you should own gold. And the way that he categorizes, or at least describes this reason, is because things are becoming a bit more complicated in the global economy. It used to be relatively simple, right? But things have become a bit more complicated. Let me share with you how or why he says this. He says, in 1972, the year I purchased my first gold coin for approximately $50, the world was simple. He says, today, the world is complex and getting more complex, right? He says in 1972, his Corvette had a simple push button, had a push button radio. He says his condo had a simple lock on the door. But he says even today, he needs instructions on how to use the radio in his Ferrari. So things are becoming a bit more complicated. He only used that as an example anyway. Okay? But what he's truly saying is the world is complex, and gold and silver, okay? It's simple. It's simple when it comes to gold and silver. And now he begins to go into talking about 5Gs. And I'm going to explain to you what he means by that. He says to be a realist, it's important to be both a pessimist and an optimist. He says, I'm optimistic about the future, but he's also pessimistic about the future as well. He says, being a pessimist, he says he prepares for the future with 5Gs. He says they are, number one, gold and silver. Of course, that's a G, right? He says grub, in other words, food for at least 6 months. What is he doing? What is he saying? Because things are getting complicated, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So he's just giving you advice on what he's doing. He's sharing what he's doing to better prepare for what may happen tomorrow. You just never know. So he talks about it and he categorizes it in terms of 5Gs. So you want to have some gold and silver. Number two, grub. So you want to have future food for at least 6 months. What does that mean? Canned goods, box goods, whatever it may be. Making sure you have these things, dry foods. Okay, so seeds and nuts and all types of things like that. You want to make sure you have it on hand. He says also gasoline. That's the third G. Gasoline. He says he invests in oil wells and has gasoline, just in case he needs to get out of town. You just never know what's going to happen. I'm telling you, if you need to get out of Dodge, you're going to need some gasoline. He says the fourth G is ground. He said he has safe properties with food and water away from cities. So again, in the suburb area, a place that's not really common or don't have a lot of people, he has, stuff stored there. So he's using wisdom, okay? And then this fifth G that he's talking about, guns and ammo, okay? He says both guns and ammo serve as protection and currency, because you never know what you're going to need to exchange that ammo or exchange that gun for, if there's ever a need, okay? And then he also mentions something very important. He talks about counterparty risk. He says fake money has counterparty risk. He says that means it cannot be money all on its own. So there is something a little fishy going on with this dollar, I would say. He says, think about the example he gave. He gave an example in a previous chapter, right? He says, let's say a friend borrows $100 from you, and he gives you an IOU. There is now counterparty risk. He says, in this example, your IOU is only as good as your friend, who is the counterparty in this example. He says, if your friend is a flake, right, your IOU is not worth the paper that it's actually printed on. He says, this is what happened in 1971. The US dollar was an IOU, a promissory note from the government. The counterparty is the United States government. And the US dollar, well, it's only as good as the integrity of the US government. Okay? Millions of people have lost everything from the government that was issuing their money, actually went bankrupt. They went bankrupt. And it has happened many times throughout history. So not just during that time, but a few other times before as well. He says the same is true for a stock certificate. If the company issuing the stock disappears, the stock certificate is not worth the paper that it's actually printed on. So what he's saying, the bottom line, is that gold and silver has no counterparty risk. So if gold and silver has no counterparty risk, guess what? It is God. Exactly. Why would he say something like that? Because gold and silver, they're precious metals, and they actually are not manufactured or made by man. It's pulled out of the earth, and the earth was created by God. He's the source. He's the creator of it all. And so that's why he's saying there's no counterparty. Right? But if there had to be one, it's God. Okay? It's God. But he also issues a warning. Here's what he says. Do not purchase, numismatic. I got to make sure I say that right. Numismatic, there we go, coins. In other words, don't purchase rare coins. He says most coin dealers have them and would love to sell you rare collectible coins because they can name their price, right? So they can tell you any type of price and you won't have any choice but to accept it. So unless you are an expert in rare coins, he says stick with ordinary gold and silver coins, such as the US Eagle. That's an example. How about the Canadian maple leaves? That's one. The Chinese pandas. Now that's a good one to have, okay? The Australian kangaroos, and even the South African, it says Rugarans. Now, of course, if you need the spelling of that, let me know, okay? But in other words, what he's saying, if you are a beginner, you're just getting started with this, you want to make sure that you keep it simple. How do you keep it simple? You connect with a resource that will help you to get access to gold. And I'm going to share with you a system that's going to actually help you to get access to gold easily. So you don't have to try to figure out whether it's good or it's bad. You know it's good because the research has already been done. Okay, you can actually see in videos connected to the system, videos of professionals going down in gold mines to actually get the gold. So again, credible system. Now I am going to mention about 2 additional points or sub areas that he mentions in reference to, keeping it really simple with gold. He says, it was the elites that took simple and made things complex. They added layer after layer of counterparties and counterparty risk. He says the elite took a simple mortgage. They took a simple mortgage and turned it into an MBS, or a mortgage-backed security, a financial derivative of derivatives, layers upon layers of counterparties. That's what they were doing, all right? So when these derivatives went off in 2008, he says, the political elites, such as the Clintons, President George H.W. and George W. Bush and the Fed chairman, Alan Greenspan, and any of those individuals, even President Obama, bailed out the financial elites working for Mandrake's money show. Okay? So they believe they are God. That's a problem. Right. So this is why it's important that you become educated and that you become or get in control of your household's economy. Just when you thought everything was good, it really isn't. Most of the people who are up there, the echelon, the people who are in the political offices, all they care about is their own pocket. So you have to be in control of your own economy, the household that you live in, your family. And then here's another point, the last point that he makes under this reason why you need gold. He says the Bitcoin threat. That's how he titles it. He says that is why cyber money, the people's money, is such a threat. He says many cryptocurrency miners and developers are driven by an intense desire, a passion, to bring down Mandrake's magical money show and the invisible leaders. Right? He says he loves keeping it simple, and I definitely have to agree with Robert Kiyosaki there. He says that's why he loves real gold and silver. He says God is the counterparty for gold and silver. He's referencing God a lot simply because he understands and knows that there's no counterfeit to it. You can't. How can you create something fake from gold? You just can't. Gold is gold. Silver is silver. Okay? So here is what I am going to share with you. Many of you are probably thinking, that's a lot, Lakeisha, how can you also keep it simple? And that's what my husband and I, and that's what approximately 1 million people, close to 1 million people are doing today. Not only are they receiving education about gold, but they have an opportunity to attach themselves to a system, go into their back office, we have a back office, and actually obtain gold whenever we want it. And we can obtain gold in small transaction-friendly amounts. So for as little as $6.20, you can get 0.1 grams of gold. You can start at the very smallest of amounts and start accumulating that appreciating asset for yourself. You see, stacking dollars is like stacking debt. You want to do the opposite. You don't want to put dollars into a banking system where you're barely going to get any type of, you're not even going to get anything. Okay. And there's a lot of risk for putting it in there because you just never know. What if the banks one day don't open? You won't be able to get those dollars out of the bank. But what if you were actually storing up gold for yourself, right? With you at a designated secret place or in a safe haven in another country. And that's exactly what this system provides you with the ability to do. You can have money in a safe haven. You can actually have gold with you, right? And it's just amazing what can be accomplished here. And you can put yourself in position to get free gold. Yes, free gold. A lot of people, sometimes they talk about the system and they're like, well, I think I could try to get some, in another place as far as gold is concerned. Well, you can, but you won't be able to get free gold. And that's what we're trying to share with you. You can actually, a part of the system, get paid in gold. You can get free gold within the system. And of course, we can share that with you. Myself and my colleagues, we can explain how all of this can happen for you. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to really put forth anything at the beginning because registering with a wealth account, a gold account, is absolutely free. What I am going to encourage you to do is have an open mind and get back with the person that's sharing this video with you so you can become educated, okay, and learning about assets, learning how to establish financial independence for yourself, keeping it simple for yourself, right, and owning gold, protecting the dollars that you're working so hard for. So again, send me an inbox message, get back with the person that's sharing this particular video on their page. Let them know, hey, I want information about this money system that will give you education about gold and other appreciating assets so you can build you and your family's wealth. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of my entire team here with the iLead Company. We appreciate your time tonight. And here's what I want to share with you. If you want more information about this amazing money system, we actually have a wealth presentation because today is Thursday, right? So we have a wealth presentation going on and it may be streamed on Facebook. So for those of you on the podcast platforms, you might want to connect with me on Facebook so that you can watch it. You can also catch it by downloading the Zoom app. Okay, download Zoom, okay, and then go to this website, www.goldrocks.info. That's how you're going to watch the wealth presentation, even if you're not on Facebook. You can go there even if you're on Facebook, but we're also going to have a watch party version. So you may see a stream, you might get a notification from Facebook saying, hey, Lakeisha's doing a watch party. Stay put, don't go anywhere. Stay to the very end of the presentation so that you can receive education that you need. Okay? So again, thank you so much for your time. Be blessed. Stay tuned for the notification on Facebook. And for those of you on the podcast platforms, head on over to goldrocks.info. Today is Thursday. And even if you're watching this or listening to this after the fact, this presentation happens always on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time at goldrocks.info. So again, everyone be blessed, and we'll catch you again with the Leadership TKO live night show tomorrow night at around 8:30 p.m. All right, and so until the next time we come together again, I encourage each and every one of you to think, to speak, and to live leadership. Good night, everyone. God bless, and I'll catch you on the presentation platform.